Is your garage a total disaster like mine is, with bikes and scooters all over the floor? Well, in this video, we're gonna show you how to build a really easy DIY bike rack that will take this chaos into this nice clean setup in a single Saturday afternoon. Let's go ahead and get started. It's gonna be fun.
At Mighty Things, we help families trade screen time for outdoor adventures and real skills. If you want to raise resilient, capable kids, subscribe and join us as we try a new challenge every week.
All right, guys, it is a Saturday morning, and we're gonna go ahead and head to Home Depot and grab the materials to get started. Ready, Jack?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, let's get a sanding block. I think this rogue hook here is what we're gonna be using. Look at these little elephants. And we're gonna go ahead and grab a box of these 2.5-inch deck screws. And we're gonna grab these 2.5-inch pocket hole screws. For the pocket screws, you're gonna need this number 2 square drive. You just need 3 2x4s and 3 2x2s. I think we have everything. Are you ready to head out? We're back at the house and we're ready to get started building. You ready, Jack? Clean up this mess. Everything that you'll need, including the materials that we're using, the tools, and the measurements, is all in the description, so be sure to check that out. So we have a drill with some drill bits, and you're gonna need the different heads for the different screw types. Safety glasses, got this journal, which is really cool for just recording, for example, like sketches and measurements that you have. This is a miter saw with a miter box. This is great to get like straight cuts or 45-degree cuts if you want to stay away from power tools with kids. Today I'm going to be using the chop saw just to speed things up. We have a carpenter square, which is optional. Again, just helps you get those 45-degree angles. A pencil, a sanding block, a measuring tape, wood glue, blue paint, and a paintbrush. So let's go ahead and get on to the cuts. So we're going to need 4 sections that are 40 inches long on these 2x4s. So go ahead and measure a 40-inch section here. Good job. So we need 2 30-inch lengths, all right, on the 2x4. So let's go ahead and measure that. Go ahead and mark it at 30 inches. Good job. We're also going to need 2 17-inch lengths. So we're going to go ahead and measure those right now. To measure the long edge, it's going to be 22 inches in length. So I went ahead and did that right there. So that's 22 inches. And then what you do is you take the carpenter square and you're going to measure, you know, on this edge, off the edge, 45-degree angle. So you're gonna... All right, so this is one of the finished pieces. So you can see we've got 45 going in this direction and 45-degree going in that direction. We're ready to start assembling the frame with 2x4s, and to hold the corners together, we're going to be using pocket screws, 2 going into the other side here. I'm just going to be using a very small drill bit as kind of a pilot hole to get started, and then I'll drive it in the rest of the way. So for this cross piece that goes in the middle, we're going to be measuring 13 inches from the bottom up to the bottom of the cross piece. All right, so we've got the 17-inch piece here, and we're going to do a pocket hole angle into this one. Flip it over. Keep going, flips and bursts. Here you go. All right, so we've assembled the frame here, and you can see that these 2x2s are gonna go along here. You're just gonna put a screw here and a screw here, driving them into there. So I have some really rough sketches here, and this is a front view and a side view. Is you've got these little slots or slats with 2x2s, and it creates these gaps in between them where you roll the scooter or the bike in. I basically have 11 of these, and what that does is it gives me 10 different slots, and I've even measured, I've got a bunch of measurements for the spacing of each one. Basically what I did was I went around and I figured out how many I wanted to support, and I measured the width of it. So the scooter is obviously a lot wider than the bike, tire, which is more narrow. This is a kid's bike. And that's how I arrived at these measurements. It doesn't have to be exact, but you want a little bit of extra room so it slides in nicely. And so just think about that ahead of time, or once again, you can just copy what I do today. So we're gonna bring this up to the edge right here, kind of get it lined up. And again, you can use pilot holes if you wanna keep it from cracking, but let's go ahead and see how this one goes. There we go, nice. Good job. So right to left, the first gap should be 2.5 inches. Good job, that's where the edge of the next one will go. When you're measuring your gaps, it's a good idea to measure both down at the bottom and up at the top just to make sure that these remain parallel. All right, so we have the frame finished. Before you start painting, this is a good time to go ahead and check your spacing and make sure that everything is fitting as expected. That looks great. Got this nice blue paint here that we're gonna use for the color. We almost forgot, we need to sand it off a little bit, so we're gonna give it a quick once over with the sanding block and then start painting. All right, we're done giving it a good coat of paint. I think it looks awesome. We're gonna let it dry and then we're gonna move on to the next step. And 47 inches. All right, we are done adding the hooks to the rack and it looks really awesome now. We're ready to start loading it up and testing it out. This bike here has a very narrow wheel, so we're gonna put it inside this slot right here. That one in there. Helmets here. Nice, that's looking really good. So you're never, ever, ever going to leave your bike on the floor again, are you? All right guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, be sure to check out our other video of how to build a beginner bike ramp. That's also a really easy Saturday afternoon project and it'll get your kids outside doing some awesome jumps. And be sure to like and subscribe. We've got more videos coming your way. Thanks so much for watching and see you next week.